뭐 오래 사셔야죠.
무의미한 대화는.
저녁으로 들어줬어야죠. 부모님 먹어요. 이거는 그냥 김치를 먹어.
I was fake sleeping in your backseat. You were singing badly. We both know you had me. We were shifting seasons, taking back roads. Where did all the time go? Lost in the crescendo. You're the loudest thing in my head, and I'd fall in over again. Love you, silver and gold, a billion or broke. I know I won't let you go. High places or low, sun blazing or cold. I know I won't been taking mornings slowly, waking up with the sweet sound of the birds, reading books and sipping coffee. I forgot how much I love getting lost in words. Well, it took us a while to get here. It took the world falling apart, but maybe we needed to take a step back to remember how lucky we are. It's like time is falling asleep in the afternoon, sunlight that's keeping us warm. Against our will, we're finally sitting still and savoring the days before they're gone. I wonder how it took us this long. Spend our evenings telling stories and playing games like we were all kids again, sitting on the front porch laughing. It's gotta be the finest medicine. It's like time is falling asleep in the afternoon, sunlight that's keeping us warm. Against our will, we're finally sitting still and savoring the days before they're gone. I wonder how it took us this long. This long, this long. Is there anybody out there? I think I need a lifeline. I've been drifting through the darkness, looking for the sunrise. Sometimes it feels like we're so far away, trying to keep our heads above the waves. Are we gone?